Hi, my name is Sylvie and I will be your yoga teacher for the day. So I'm going to be showing you guys gentle flow, specifically for beginners. It's going to be a short 20-minute session where I'll just take you through a couple of asanas, so some twists, some downward dog, some lunges, just to sort of wake. It's best for like the morning times. It's important that if you're a beginner, you understand your body. So if you have any injuries, specifically knee injuries, it's very important for you to double up your mat or maybe take a towel. Use your blocks. Blocks are your friends. So I would really much advocate for that. So yeah, we can get started. So you can get started in a comfortable seat, either with your legs crossed or you can sit on your heels and your palms facing either up or down, depending on what makes you feel comfortable, okay? It's important for you to relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, and just keep as much of your lower back supported by engaging your core. So your core is really your support system, okay? So just start with a couple of breath exercises, just coming to a stillness and finding your ujjayi breath or your nasal breath or yogic breath, okay? So we'll just do a couple of inhales and exhales. So you'll inhale and exhale. Inhale. Really filling your lungs. Exhale. Try and make your breaths even. So your inhale should be as long as your exhale. Okay, your arms can float up into the air. We'll just take a twist to the right. And in this twist, remember to keep your sit bones on the mat. Both knees should be on the mat. You can look towards the back of the room, remembering to engage your core always. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhale. Relax your shoulders always and your jaw. Exhale. One last breath here. Inhale. Exhale and you'll switch sides. So take a seated twist to the left. Inhale. And exhale. I like to do 5 breaths per asana, just because I feel like that's when you really start to reap the benefits of the poses. Inhale and exhale. 2 more times. Exhale. And 1 more inhale. And exhale. Okay. Now you can bring the soles of your feet together and sort of open up your thighs. I think it's important here, you're not supposed to force your feet down, so just get to the point where you're comfortable and you just take a forward fold. When you're folding forward, again, engage your core and remember it's not an arched fold. You're meant to try and get as much length, right? So you can use your elbows to sort of push your knees down, but don't force it. Be gentle with yourself and just pull your spine forward and get length. It's not about how far down you can go, but it's about the length you create in the spine. So again, relaxing your shoulders and looking forward, okay? And with every breath, it should aid your movements to try and go deeper into your poses. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. So we're just opening up our hips and our back with these asanas. Inhale and exhale. One last time, inhale and exhale. Okay, when you're ready, come up slowly. Take your time. Remember, this is just the beginning of your practice. Okay, and then we can come and do a couple of cat-cows. So in cat-cow, you're on all fours, and what's important to remember is that you want to have your hands stacked underneath your shoulders directly. Same thing with your hips, and your hips and your knees. So your hips should be directly over your knees, your core should be engaged, and your neck should be relaxed, creating space between your neck and your ears. And we'll do a couple of cat-cows. You can have your feet like this or straighten out. It's entirely up to you. So just take it easy. For people with knee injuries, again, double up your mat for this. So you'll just inhale and you drop your belly and look up to the sky. And you exhale, come into cat. Inhale. Now exhale, come into cat. So round through your spine, through your upper back, especially through your shoulders. Inhale. Look up to the sky. And exhale. Do that 2 more times. Taking your time through these poses. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale, come into a neutral spine, okay? And this time, maybe you push back into a little downward dog, but just come to standing with a forward fold, and you're just gonna grab opposite elbows and swing from side to side, just releasing any tensions in your quads, your hamstrings, and your lower and upper back, and of course your neck. So I really enjoy this like ragdoll stretch because it just sort of helps to loosen you up whenever you in the morning, especially when you're super stiff. It's a great pose for unlocking any tight muscles, okay? So once you feel comfortable here, you can then come into your first down dog of the practice. Now, down dog is a very interesting pose. So in as much as it's a resting pose, it's also a pose that should be it's an active stretch, right? So in down dog, you want to bring your heels as close to the mat as possible. You want to really tuck in your core and you're pushing out of your arms, right? So your head is dropped back and you're looking towards your belly button, right? So the temptation for most people is really to just let their arms hang loose, but it's important to get that active stretch even though it's a resting pose. So just take a couple of breaths here. Inhale, exhaling, never forgetting to breathe wherever you are on the mat. Inhale, exhale. If you want to take out any kinks in your hamstrings, your quads, just sort of, you can just lift one heel at a time. I like to do this too because it definitely helps with just sort of allowing you to be more flexible with your jump throughs or wherever you are in the practice, okay? So once you're ready, you're just going to lift your right leg into the air and you come forward and you take a low lunge. So drop your left knee and just sort of sit there. So you want to open up the hip, okay? Again, creating space between your torso and your thigh. So don't collapse into your thigh. Just use your core to sort of lift yourself up, creating that nice length in your neck and creating space in your shoulders. So just hold for a second. If this is too much for you, you can grab a block and just place your hands on each side of the block. This should give you some elevation and should help you out. But for now, I'll just be here, okay? And once you've taken enough breaths, like 5, like I recommend, you can come back, bring your foot back, and push yourself back to downward facing dog. Again, taking it easy. Now we'll do the same thing on the left side. Leg goes in the air, step through to the top of the mat, drop your right knee, and come into a low lunge. Same thing here. Again, it's so important for you to try and also keep your hips square, right? So the temptation is to let your left or whichever leg is on the ground open up. Try and engage it by sort of imagining you're trying to press something between your hips. And that's how you get the active stretch. Inhale, exhale. Taking your time in every pose. Inhale, exhale. Just remember to be gentle with yourself. Inhale. And when you're ready, place your palms down, step back, downward facing dog. Okay, grab a couple of breaths here. If you're feeling really tired at any time in the practice, just take a child's pose, hold down, take a child's pose. Okay, but for now we're in downward facing dog. Inhale, you walk your feet to the top of the mat slowly. And you exhale, fold forward. Feel free to put enough bend in your knees. Inhale, rise to stand, your hands go above your head. And exhale, your hands come through your heart center. Okay, we'll just do a couple of vinyasas. Inhale and exhale. Step back into plank. Either come to your knees or you can go all the way to a chaturanga, lowering down with control. Your elbows are tucked in. Inhale, come to a cobra. Exhale, push back, slowly downward facing dog. Okay? Then you take your right foot, step it through, come to a warrior one or to a high lunge. I recommend warrior one. When you're in warrior one, you want to have your pelvis again facing forward. The temptation is to open up, but really you're trying to support your lower back here, and you're really getting the stretch in your left leg. So what you're doing with your left foot is you're sort of actually grabbing onto the mat with your foot. Breathing when you're here, inhale. Exhale, don't collapse into your lower back. Lift up with using your pelvic floor. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. With every breath, try and go a bit deeper into your pose. One last time, inhale. Exhale, frame your foot. Step back to a plank. Drop your knees all the way down through your vinyasa. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Good. Okay, when you're ready, take your left foot up. Come up into warrior one. Inhale. Again, remembering your form here. Okay, whenever you get into a new pose, remember what your form is supposed to be. Okay, squaring off your hips to the front of the room. Taking your time here. Inhaling and exhaling. Not forgetting that you have to try and make your asanas as even as possible. So if you do it on the right, always do it on the left. Even if your body isn't exactly even, right? So you'll have different sides that are more flexible. Inhale and exhale, frame your foot. Step to high plank. Lower all the way down with control. Take a cobra, inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a couple of breaths when you're here. Okay, pedaling out, or you can just remain still. If you need to bend your knees, that's perfectly fine. You know, it takes time for you to get to certain poses, so just listen to your body and do what you can do. And just breathe while you're here, catching your breath. Inhale and exhale. When you're ready, come to your toes, bend your knees, look forward. You can either step, you can hop, come to the top of the mat. Inhale, forward fold. Okay, bend your knees, you come into a chair pose. Keeping your hips trying to keep them as close to each other as possible. So it's an active stretch. So imagine you're holding a tennis ball between your thighs, looking up to the sky, your core is engaged, and then come to stand. Come down to the standing pose. Take a couple of breaths here. Inhale and exhale. One last time. Inhale and exhale. Okay, your hands float up. And you fold all the way forward. Exhale. Inhale, halfway lift. And in your halfway lift, you can always bring your palms to your knees, especially if you can't touch your toes yet. Just rest them there. Take an exhale. Then you step back to plank. And again, lowering down with control. So drop your knees. Come down to your chest. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay? Right. Then you'll take your right leg to the top of the mat. And we'll come up to warrior two this time. Okay? In your warrior two, it's the same thing here. This time your pelvis is sort of angling towards the other side of the room. But what you're doing is you are actually engaging your glute muscle. And by doing that, you're bringing your knee closer towards the left side of your mat. So this is my right side, so closer towards the left side, and you should really feel that in your glute, your right glute. Okay? So from here, you'll straighten your right leg, and you'll come into a triangle pose. Now, wherever you are in your practice, it's probably good for you to take it easy. So you can bring your hand to just underneath your knee on your shin. If you want to take it deeper, you can come all the way down. However, I recommend using a block here, whichever level you're at, the block for support. And look up to the sky. Use your core to lift you up here. So don't just collapse because you have a block or because you can go as far into the pose. So use your core to lift you up. Look up to the sky. If you're not comfortable with your hand up there, you can bring it to your waist. And just take a couple of breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. One last time. Inhale and exhale. Okay. Bring your other hand down, your right hand down, left hand down, and step back to a high plank. Lower down with control knees. Come all the way down to your chest. Then exhale, inhale, come to cobra. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog. We'll do the same thing on the left side. So step your left foot through. Turn your right leg into a 45-degree angle. Come up to warrior two. Remember your form here. Okay? Engaging those thighs, those inner thighs. Really feeling your glute muscle there. And just breathe. Remember, your breath is what you use to bring calm to you. And breath is life, so it's important to breathe when you're working out generally. Exhale. One last time, inhale. Exhale, you straighten your left leg and you come down to triangle pose. So wherever you are in your practice, I always recommend using a block, especially in the beginners stages of your practice. Look up to the sky, engaging your core, lifting out of that right arm. Bend that left knee, drop your right arm. You can take the block out of the way now. Frame your foot, step back to plank, and lower all the way down to the mat with control. Inhale, come to cobra. Exhale, push back into a child's pose. Okay. So this is really the best resting pose. It doesn't matter if you have it wide-legged or your feet are together. Just find a place that you're comfortable. And just take a bit of a rest here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. One last time. Inhale and exhale. Walk your hands up. Maybe you come to a seated pose with your legs out forward as you sort of wind down your practice, right? So you sit it with your legs forward and you want to sit on the least fleshy part of your bum, but you're sitting up and your core is engaged. So you're not leaning forward, you're sort of just keeping your back straight. Remember, your shoulders should always be relaxed, okay? And so we'll come into a forward fold while seated, so your hands can go up, create length in your body, right? And try and it's not about whether you can get your head down easily. It's more about how much length you can create in your body. Again, you can use blocks if you need to have your hands closer, or a strap. Actually, a strap is probably better, so you can use it to sort of anchor yourself forward. Okay? And you can look down and create space in your neck. And just breathe when you're here. Inhale, flex your feet. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Couple more times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale when you're ready. Slowly come back up, and you can come to a lying down pose. So you can come into either Shavasana or you can choose to do butterfly. Okay. So when you're here, butterfly is where your legs are Same thing we're doing when we started the practice, which is your heels are touching. So you can be there, or you can just take a full Shavasana, which is your final resting pose. And this is the pose that is the most important part of your practice. It's the pose where you are really actualizing everything that has been going on during the practice in your body. This is when people say yoga begins. It begins when you are in this resting pose. You can always choose to have a block underneath your back for support if you need something more restorative. So feel free to stay here as long as you want, but for the sake of this video, we're just gonna come back to a seated position and close with your legs crossed and your hands to prayer. I always like to say a couple of words just to close the practice. Whatever you do on your mat, off your mat, may it be with peace, may it be with love, may it be with intention. Namaste.